is who we are.
We're going live?
Yeah, we're going live. It's time. All right. Hi, everybody. We're not quite ready to get started yet. It'll be about another minute, but we're just testing out our audio and all of that for right now. We're going to introduce ourselves to make sure you can hear us. I'm Miss Toby.
I'm Miss Denise.
And I'm Miss Annette.
All right. Okay, guys. So we'll wait just another minute, and then we'll get started. We're waiting to hear from our chat moderator, who's going to be Miss Olivia this week. And so she's going to pop her name into the main chat so you guys know who is responding on our behalf at the library. And then the other thing being, we're just making sure that she can hear us. Okay, so we have Olivia with us, so let's get started. Okay, so welcome to Teen Talk. And Teen Talk is our new platform for our teen program here at the library for this summer while COVID is going on. Are still ongoing. So we're excited to have more than 40 readers signed up for our teen summer library program. That's awesome. Yay!
Yes.
So thanks for reading with us.
Absolutely.
This is the first time we're doing the program this way, live. So we may have a few technical difficulties. Please bear with us until the end. Before we get started, I'd like to ask anyone who is joining us live to participate in chat. I'd like to give you a brief introduction of the layout for this new program so you know what to expect. And so to start with, right after our intro, we will show you a few things you can win on the Teen Wall of Prizes so you can get an idea of what's available just for reading 5 books. Then we will have a special guest professional joining us for our interview with the pro segment. And so get any questions you have for a librarian ready so that we know what she can answer for you while she's here live on air. And then we'll talk about our book of the week, which was Dune, the Dune graphic novel, which is available on Hoopla. So if you read it, have your comments ready. We want to know what you thought. And then we will spotlight some of the crafts our teens have completed, the Summer Star crafts our teens have completed, and show off our craft kit for this week and the coming week as well. So for now, I'm your host, Toby. This is your co-host, Annette, and this is our very special librarian guest, Denise.
Miss Denise.
Miss Denise. So we are going to start with our Wall of Prizes Spotlight. So our Wall of Prizes Spotlight, if Miss Denise back behind you here, if you want to hand everyone a prize to show off. Oh, okay. So my prize that I'm showing off to you guys this week is our Retro Arcade Speedball set.
I'd like to win that one.
I know, it looks super fun. So it's just a kind of miniature version of like a skee ball activity you would see at an arcade. And so that's all for winning, just for reading 5 books. So read 5 books and get your tickets in online. All right.
So I am spotlighting the studio creator for your own home studio. It has the light ring and all the things you would need to be able to create your own event or production like we're doing here for Teen Talk. So it's available. Read those books and get those tickets in if you want to have your own home studio.
Mine comes with a green screen and everything.
Yes. And this one kind of goes along with our first week's craft. This is a deluxe rock painting book and kit. And if you haven't stopped by the library to pick up one of our rocks out front, please do so. And after you've made your creation, come in, give it to one of the youth services team, and we will Mod Podge it for you to keep it creative on your part and safe from the weather on ours.
Yes. All right. So starting into our interview with the pro segment. So we're going to do these every week. Sometimes our professional will be joining us live. Sometimes they'll be joining us over Zoom, and sometimes we'll have a video that we recorded beforehand because they weren't able to join us the day of. But so this week we have the theme for the the theme for you guys and also for the younger kids is all about libraries. For the young kids, it's Library Tales. For you guys, it is starting your summer reading adventure. So I have a few questions for Miss Denise here. We just want to kind of showcase all the careers that are available out there for you guys someday, because a lot of us know now as adults that there were things we didn't know existed and we happened into. So we just want to share that with
and
you.
there are some areas that you may have never thought of on your own, but you have some interest in it. And so we'd like to give you some insight into what you do to get in this professional position or whatever.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Miss Denise.
Yes.
Ooh, professional interview
Oh, my.
face. Oh wow. All right, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you currently do, professionally, creatively, etc.
Well, I am very, very fortunate to serve as the youth services librarian here at our library. I've been here for about almost 5 years now. I've done a lot of different things through the course of my career. I actually started out being interested in libraries from a very young age. Because my mom was pregnant with me and worked in the library, and my great aunt was a librarian, and my grandmother was a school teacher. So we were in the library all the time. So it kind of became second nature. And I kind of joke that my first library card was kind of what got me started down the path, because I used to go to the small library in Hurricane, because I grew up in Hurricane, and we would go to the little library on Main Street, and this was our library card. And with the library card, it actually had raised letters with your name and address, and you put it in the machine and it punched it and got a label. You put your date due on the book, and Billy was our librarian, so she used to let me stand up on a step stool and check out my own books when I was like 3 or 4 years old. So I got the bug kind of early on, but I absolutely love the chance to actually be engaged with young people as a librarian, because information literacy and teaching information literacy, because Google doesn't have all the answers, even though people thinks that it does. People may think so, but I really enjoy that. I do a lot of art projects at home, a lot of coloring with colored pencils, things like that. I like to horseback ride. A lot of different things that we get into. I sing sometimes. Of course, karaoke hasn't been around for a while now because of the pandemic, but just some fun things like that getting involved with.
All right. So you answered it a little bit, but I'm sure you have more to say. So how did you first become interested in what you do now, and how old were you?
Again, probably about 3 or 4, because I thought it was very, very fun to play librarian, and I used to check out books and take them home and play librarian at home even. So it was kind of interesting from that point. But as I started out when I was in high school, I decided I wanted to go into psychology. That was what I wanted to do. And so I started with that, and my first semester at Marshall, because being a freshman, my parents, I was very fortunate, told me to take a lot of interesting electives just to see what I liked. So I took a journalism class and a psychology class, and 3 or 4 different ones, all elective courses. I found out I did not want to go into journalism, for sure. Found out that psychology did kind of interest me. So I started taking some classes in that area, and then actually landed in a friend's, we were at a friend's house, and she was talking about the counseling program. So I decided I wanted to go into counseling. So started that, got a job very serendipitously at the counseling center at Marshall's campus, and decided to stay and work in, get my master's degree in higher education. So that's what I did for my master's degree. And then from there, moved on and started being a college administrator for many, many years. So did that and was dean of an academic library in Florida when I moved away to the beach for my 15 years at the beach, and decided to come home and be back at the libraries. So I'm very fortunate again. I landed in my dream job as my, hopefully, retirement career here.
Yes. People are always surprised when our team members here explain that we're not all librarians. Actually, our library staff only has 2 librarians right now, which are Miss Denise and Todd, our director. And so what does it mean to be a librarian officially, for those that may not know?
Well, it is interesting because you have to have a bachelor's degree to go into a master's level program if you want to be a public librarian with your Master's of Science in Information in Libraries. It's changing a lot, but there is a 4-year degree required for most of the positions in the library field right now in public libraries. So you do have to have a postmaster's degree. So I always joke that everybody else on our team is library magicians because all of us make magic at the library. So it's a definite 4-year degree on top of what you've already done. If you work in media centers in the schools, there are certifications you have to do as a teacher to be able to do that. So it takes at least a bachelor's degree and then at least 4 years of master's for public libraries at least, and academic libraries too. So.
All right, so if you didn't know that and you're hanging out in our chat, I see we've got some viewers with us already. So if you didn't know that, just let us know. And if you have any questions for Miss Denise, pop them in there and we'll get them in before we're done with our interview segment here. What is your favorite? Why are libraries magical is my next question.
Well, I've always said they're magical because libraries have all these free things. You can walk into a library and everything's free to you. Not a public library, not an academic library. That's a whole different situation. But public libraries are free, and you can walk in and you can watch movies, or you can go to a program, or you can listen in on a program like we're doing here. You can borrow books, movies, listen online to ebooks. There's so many things you can do, and they're all free. So I say that it's kind of magic because you can go to the library and end up anywhere you want to be, because your imagination can take flight with things you borrow from us. So it's kind of a magic thing.
So I'm not sure what her answer to this is going to be, but what is your favorite depiction of your career in TV or in movies?
Sometimes I get a little aggravated with how they portray librarians. I don't have a bun on my head. I do have a little sweater on, but that's not the only thing. I've got on my really cool t-shirts too. But it's always portrayed as the shh kind of libraries, and we're just not that way, particularly with our library in the time I've been here. But I really enjoy that movie series that was on as The Librarians, because the adventure, because I feel like every day I get to come to work is an adventure, because no day is like the day before. We're always coming up with new and fun things to do. I learn something from my colleagues and from our patrons and readers who come in. I learn something every day. So, it's just that whole adventure, and that's what kind of The Librarian reminds me of. But I really, really enjoyed Giles from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He's one of my favorite librarians, yes.
I like also Flynn from The Librarians, because he's always he's a lifelong learner.
That's right.
That's what he gets. He doesn't want to leave college and ends up being a librarian. But it's because I feel like getting to work in libraries, not even being a librarian, you are always learning and growing and experiencing kinds of books you may not have read otherwise, because you want to know what to share with your readers. So that's always a good thing. Okay, so last question here in our interview with the pro segment. If you could give your teenage self advice about preparing for the future, what would you say?
Probably just to slow down a little bit and enjoy some of that free time you have when you're a teenager and don't realize some of the free time you have and the opportunities you have to take advantage of free things and really explore, talk with people who are in the field you're interested in. Try to decide for certain before you kind of fall into where you need to be, but sometimes you just fall into it and kind of follow your heart, because what you end up doing is a big part of your day during the week. So you might want to enjoy what you're doing. So, don't just go for the money, because that's not always the end all be all either. So find something you love to do, and you won't ever have to feel like it's work. I love coming in here every day. So very, very, very fortunate. And I get to work with cool people like you guys and our whole team. So hey, I'm living the life here.
We're at least medium cool around here. Okay, so this week, I don't know how many, we did have several of you pick up your craft kits, so hopefully you got to see at least what our book of the week is. Our book of the week this week was Dune, the graphic novelization that's available on Hoopla. It's the one from 2020, not the one from the 80s, which I brought with me today, in case y'all just want to see what that looked like way back in the day. But the new one, it's available on Hoopla. We have it here at the library, but it is checked out, so someone is enjoying it right now. Maybe they're with us. Did one of you check out the library copy? I don't know. We'll find out later. But so me, Miss Annette, and I read Dune, the graphic novel, in preparation for this week, and so we're going to kind of book club it for you guys. I'm going to give you a quick little book talk here about Dune, about Dune in general, which we have the regular book and the sequel, the big one. So that's the original book, and then the sequel out here, which you can borrow at the library here. We have them here as well.
I know, but this is Miss Toby's personal copy of it, and it just is distracting with the turquoise at the end of it. And this kind of gives you an idea of some of the plot that's in the book, which I found that I liked about it.
Yeah, so if you read the graphic novel, you'll notice that a lot of the colors utilized are that really burnt orange, deserty kind of color, and also blue, because there's a lot of theming around sand and heat, and then the scarcity of water. So I'm going to read like the quick synopsis from the blurb, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I love Dune, and then me and Annette and I are going to discuss a little bit about how the graphic novel is a little different and what we thought. Okay, so Dune this is the, according to the Frank Herbert estate, the definitive graphic novelization of Dune. Dune is a Frank Herbert's epic science fiction masterpiece. It's set in the far future amidst a sprawling, feudal interstellar society. It tells the story of Paul Atreides, who is 15 years old, as he and his family accept control of the desert planet of Arrakis. The stunning blend of adventure and mysticism, environmentalism, and politics is a powerful, fantastical tale that takes an unprecedented look at our universe as transformed by the graphic novel format. Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson's adaptation retains the integrity of the original novel, and the art from Raoul Allen, Patricia Martin, and the cover by Bill Sienkiewicz bring the book to life for a new generation of readers. And I do believe that the graphic novelization is a really, really true adaptation of Dune. In terms of course, it's not as good as reading the full book. Please read the full book. But if you want to get an idea of what you're getting into, the graphic novelization is fantastic. I love Dune because I know that it is not typically classified as a young adult novel or a middle grades novel, but it does focus on a 15-year-old protagonist, and it is a very traditional coming-of-age story. It could go right in there with like Lord of the Rings and like Star Wars as that classic coming-of-age hero's journey kind of tale. Mm-hmm. It has a lot about the advent of a mythology, the way that history views what is happening now being more important than what is actually happening, and things like that. It's beautiful. That's my spiel about why everyone should read Dune. It's gorgeous. It's got something for everyone. It's got romance. It's got science. It's got fighty bits. Got giant worms the size of mountains that eat people. So check it out. But to our book clubby segment here, I'm going to ask Miss Annette some questions.
Okay.
So, what did you think of the story presented in the graphic novel as a whole?
As a whole, because I've lived a long time here on this earth, I saw a lot of that is currently going on, especially with the ecology, that type of thing, thinking about the world right now as a planet and the things that are missing in our planet and things like that. So overall, it sounded very desolate, which it is. The things that were concerning to me when I was reading it was actually the lack of water and how the people tried to accommodate their feelings about that, but they would have to go out, and if there was any dew, any moisture in the air, they would go out and collect it. And then there was an underlying current because in the castle, Miss Toby, is it called a castle? I don't know.
It's there, yeah. It's a castle.
It's where the head honchos live. They had this big garden, tropical garden, where all the water on the planet was sourced into there so that they could keep everyone in the palace happy. So there was some undercurrent of that. And then Miss Toby mentioned the sandworms, which were very invasive, but that was the first, Toby, that was actually the first serious graphic novel that I read. And I'm a very visual person, so some of the pictures were distracting to me, so I would have to go back and read a couple of things. So that was an interesting perception that I never had before in reading, and so I'll go back and I'll look at some more graphic novels.
I should mention that the graphic novel, just so you know, so you're aware, when you get into it, it actually covers maybe the first third or so of the book, Dune. It's a big book. It's an undertaking, but it covers the first third or so of the book, and it is it has some of my favorite scenes though, for me, because it has both the Litany Against Fear, which is a really famous quote from Dune. That is, it's a big, long speech, but it begins with the phrase, "Fear is the mind killer." So the idea that if you are afraid of something, you never grow and learn. So that's one of my favorites. And the other is the banquet hall scene, which is a little dark, but it's a lot of political intrigue and like some wittiness with words. I'm not gonna spoil that one for you because it's one of my favorite like comebacks that someone's ever had in fiction to someone being shady. So check it out.
And then if you really like this particular one, part 2 is going to be coming out in the spring of 2022. So that'll be something to look forward to.
All right, I think maybe just one more for you, Miss Annette. Who was your favorite character that you met in the first little bit of the book?
Paul.
Paul, probably. Yeah.
Yes.
The beginning of the book.
Because I was just introduced to him and identifying with him because I had never read the full book here, which I may after summer reading is over with because it's such a long book. But I was just being introduced to him and him questioning, not giving it too much, him questioning what his really role was when he moved to this planet and that type of thing.
I can't remember if it's, because I've just read both recently, if it's addressed, if they use the phrasing in the graphic novel or the regular novel. But Paul has what they call a sense for rightness. It's like his instinct for what is right and what is wrong. When people say, like, to the extent he can tell if someone is lying to him. Like, he can sense, like, things, and he has quasi superpowers early on, and later he definitely has some superpowers. So I kind of like the idea of that, like, because I feel like especially when you're young, when you're developing your opinions about the world, you have a gut that says, this is maybe not right for me, or this is what I should be doing, and you should probably listen to that from time to time.
And in the beginning, his gut is talking to him a lot. He's trying to figure out this new and strange planet that he's been put upon to save the world, he thinks.
Or so he's been told.
Yes.
And so everyone is leading him to believe. So that's a good,
Yep.
it's now like, it ends not to give anything away, the ending of Dune is a little nebulous. There are sequels that kind of clear things up. But as to if Paul is the savior of, the universe, it kind of lets you decide that for yourself. Yes. So, anyway, so moving on to our last little bit for today. We have so we did our craft kits this week, and I'm going to pass these around so everyone can share one, if I can find them. Okay, so I'm going to give these to Miss Denise to share. And I'm going to give these to Miss Annette to share, and I have got these two. So I'll start, and we'll go on down the table. But some of our readers who got their beginning starter kits completed their mission online and told us we could share their photos. Some of them we are going to share their names as well, but some we will not because they asked us. So we're going to share a photo of kind of what we created. If you remember in your starter kits, if you got one, you got a felt frog, like stuffed frog kit to make. So I want to share what some people did. So Maddie, one of our readers, did a frog with a cute little bow. I don't know how well you can see it, but she did a fantastic job with that. So
yes, and I've got Sydney. She made hers and put a stick on him so that he could probably participate in some fun activities like a play or a puppet show, would be my guess. Wonderful job.
And this is Nadia, and when I first looked at it, I thought it actually was our sample because it looks so much like the one that we put together.
It does. All right. Here I have one from a reader who wished to remain anonymous, but I like that she drew her face. She went a little different route instead of the big red mouth, and I like the eyes as well. So.
And this one, Elijah did one, and he's actually holding his up in the picture. So his frog turned out fabulous. Look how fun.
All right.
And this one is by Nikolai. And when we did our sample, we used what is called a whip stitch, but I noticed in his, he kind of did a back stitch, which gave it a different look to it. And I really liked that he used his creativity to do that.
Yes. All right, so up next, we're going to talk. So if you haven't picked up your craft kit for this week yet, they started becoming available last Wednesday. We still have a few left. But I'm going to give these to the ladies who created them here. And I have a few to share from our other staff members as well. So our craft for this week is we wanted you guys, because this is like the sharing your summer learning story week, to paint a rock to look like one of your favorite books. And surprise, surprise, I painted mine to look like the cover of the Dune graphic novel. It says "Fear is the Mind Killer" on the back, so no one's surprised about this. But so just paint whatever reminds you of your favorite book there. And I think Miss Denise has one to share as well with an announcement.
Mine is "Let the Reading Rumpus Begin," because Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak is one of my favorites, and our finale for the summer this year is End of Summer Reading Rumpus. So we're going to have a big time, July 27th. You want to mark your calendars.
That's right. And mine was called The Mystery Tree, and it's a juvenile book, and it's about all of the different animals. Since with some of our younger readers, we're talking about all the different animals. This is all the different animals that can live in trees and things like that. So that's the one that I'm drew.
All right, and we had two more from our staff I want to share real quick. Miss Leslie, who I don't know if y'all have met yet, but she is our newest staff member here on the Youth Services team. And she did a Hunger Games symbol, which I feel like some of you might recognize. And then this one, I don't actually know if it's from a book because I didn't get a chance to ask her about it. But Miss Casey, who is one of our new employees up at the front desk, did this beautiful one with a pumpkin and some flowers. And then on the back, she did the bird and the vines. She did a great job. So we just wanted to share it with y'all because it's beautiful. So paint your rocks, bring them in. And we would be excited to show them.
Absolutely.
So, last thing for today, Miss Denise, do you want to tell everybody our secret code for today?
Our secret code for this week is libraries. So make sure you have plural on that, libraries.
Libraries.
So put that in and get your code or get your extra ticket for the week.
And Miss Olivia will type that in the chat as well, libraries, plural, so that you guys can copy and paste it if you need to. Well, thank you guys for joining us. This has been Teen Talk. It will be great to see you next time. This is Toby signing off.
Miss Denise?
Miss the next.
And I think we should end with the library.
Oh, okay, we can do that.
Yes,
so
we always do library
we do this with the youngers a lot. We don't do it a lot with you guys, but if you want to join us, we usually do 1, 2, 3 libraries. So you guys can do it along. Ready?
Absolutely.
1, 2, 3 libraries. All right, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Gonna end stream. Maybe.
What happened to Olivia's rock?